Question number one. Vocabulary question. When it comes to vocabulary questions, I have to look for contextual clues. There must be contextual clues. So that is vocabulary. It is wrong to call it vocabulary only. It is vocabulary in context. So sometimes when I read and I get to the blank, I say A, B, C, D would work. Why not? I will not get to the correct answer unless I go on reading and I find a clue. So the task is to find the clue. Here, guys, the most blank figures. I must think this way. I have 4 adjectives. So I need an adjective that describes this noun. Figures. One of the most blank figures. How would I know whether I'm talking about unpredictable figure, important figure, secretive figure, ordinary figure? I would know if I go on reading to find contextual clue. There must be a clue. Here, guys, we have the colon. What comes after the colon explains what comes before the colon. This is how we integrate writing rules with reading skills. I know this piece of information from the writing rules that what comes after explains what comes before. So this is the technique. When you find colon, you are tested in what comes before, so you need to read what comes after. You are tested in what comes after, so you need to read what comes before. That's it. Who can explain it, guys? Raise hand if you can explain number one. Nada.
So after the colon, it says he had many significant accomplishments,
100% correct.
which is kind of synonym to important.
100% correct. Thank you. This is from one of the official tests released by the College Board. What would you have on your trial, your May trial? Imitation, replica, very similar question. Imitation, copy of what you see now, we just change the text. So here I have among the many significant accomplishments, I describe this guy's accomplishments as significant. So this guy is significant figure. Which word from these means a significant? Significant means important. So I choose B. See, guys, easy. If you think of it the sad way, not the scholastic way. So you have to go on reading until you can figure out the clue. Question number 2. Vocabulary question. Who can explain it? who can explain the technique. Wow. Ismail.
Uh, yes, so for this question, there are generally two things we use when we see the word poem, which is either compose or interpret. So we eliminate A and D. That's our first step. Our second step is we're going to see which one works like in this context. So we can see that it says they're quite difficult and it says often strange images. The word strange indicates that something is hard to understand and the highly experimented syntax also indicates that. Also the part that says thus are the object of heated debate means that they can be very difficult to interpret.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Ismail. See, guys, here we go. I must think this way. Here we have A, B, C, D, verbs, difficult to some things. The whole thing describe the noun poems. These poems can be quite difficult to what? So I have to find description of the poems. How these poems are described in this text. So I can complete the description. Can be quite difficult to blank. To complete the description of poems, I have to read the description that comes before. Due to their often strange images, highly experimental syntax, and opaque subject matter, all of that, guys, indicate the complicated style, the difficult style of these poems, strange images, highly experimental syntax, and opaque subject matter. So if I describe poems with such description, it means that these poems are very difficult to explain. So I choose can be difficult to explain, means can be difficult to interpret. Can be difficult to interpret. The rapid choice here is B, compose, because compose is accompanied with like two words mainly in English. Compose music and compose poetry. Compose music and compose poetry. So you see the word poems. If your vocabulary level is advanced, you may think this way poems are composed. But here, guys, difficult. Difficult to compose? No. They already composed the poems. They already wrote the poems. So the problem is with not composing or writing the poems. The problem is with understanding them. That's why we choose C. The problem is with understanding, with explaining, with paraphrasing the poems, not with writing or composing the poem. So answer choice C is correct. And that is the clue about the difficulty of explanation. Question 3, go ahead. Vocabulary. Contextual clues. Explain it, وديع.
Uh, okay, sir. Sorry for the
No problem. It is okay.
Okay, so the first clue I got was sudden appearance and rapid diversification, and then
Diversifications.
yeah, and then in the last sentence, a shift in many organisms to body types that were more likely to be preserved. And there was a shift, so I need a word that says like sudden. So I just see.
Well, the clue here, guys, is the word this. This is very important. If you see the word this and you are asked, see, any of these words, that word here. See, guys, if you see the word this blank, these, those, that, touch, and you are asked to provide a word, the clue will be before. You will find the clue before. Because this, these, those, that, such plus noun, most of the time, or noun preceded by adjective, so I find adjective noun. The description of this noun will be in what comes before, not in what comes after. I do not use this, these, those, that, such in English unless I mention, unless I explain, unless I describe the thing before. If I say that book, it means I talked about a specific book before. When I mention the word book for the first time, I say a book. A book. But when I mention it for the second time, I say the book, this book, such book, and add the word that to the list. The plus noun means that I mentioned this noun before, as I do not use the unless I mention the noun in what comes before. So here, guys, we see the word this. This means I talked about the change before. The change. What a change? The change we are talking about is the sudden appearance. Sudden appearance is change. Rapid diversification, change. Right? So I describe the change as sudden and rapid. See, sudden plus rapid. So I say, which word from these equals sudden and rapid? Of course, it is abrupt. That's it. Question 4. Go ahead, all of you send the answer. Raise hand if you can explain it. Mahmoud, go ahead, Mahmoud.
Yes, sir. Okay. The main idea of the text that we discovered that after a while, researchers who was thinking that women didn't have leadership roles had after the finding discovered that women had leadership roles. So we need to say concede,
Concede.
concede. Yes, because it's like they accepted the truth. The meaning of
Right.
concede is like to agree. Yes, agree.
100% correct. As Mahmoud explained, guys, we had the misconception in what comes before. What is the misconception, the wrong idea? See, during a 2014 archaeological dig in Spain, Vicente Lol and his team uncovered the skeleton of a woman from El Algar, an early Bronze Age city buried with valuable objects signaling high position of power. This finding may persuade researchers who have argued that Bronze Age cities were ruled by men to do what with the new finding that women may have also held leadership roles. And what comes before, we say that the researchers have argued that Bronze Age societies were ruled by men. Now we have a new evidence that women may have also held the leadership roles. So those researchers must admit. So admit means concede. Must concede that, must admit that. Why? Because we have evidence. And the evidence in the first sentence that we found valuable objects signaling a high position of power by women. So researchers who have argued that only men played a role have to admit that women may have also held leadership roles. So we need the word concede. That means confess, admit, agree on a statement. So we choose B. Refute. What does refute mean? Raise hand if you know. Refute means رماز
To prove the falsity of a belief.
to prove that a statement is invalid. Okay. Required logically doesn't make any sense at all. Wave. This is a very important word. What does wave mean? Raise hand if you know it. Wave. To wave means to Salma.
Disregard.
Excellent. To disregard, it can be mainly it means to abandon something, to abandon your right, to waive your right. We usually use this word with the word right. To waive right means to abandon it. You have a right doing something, but you waive it means you forgo it. You forgo it, you abandon it. So it cannot be a. Muhammad, go ahead.
So can we also say like wave like give up? Can it be this?
Yes, of course,
Okay.
it can be. Well, guys, so we are done with the 4 vocabulary question. We have 5th one here. Give it a try, all of you. Mustafa Fakhr Dili, explain it, Mustafa.
Yes. Okay. So it stated even significant differences in state taxation have almost no effect on people's decision. So I chose overshadow them.
Well, how should I think of this question? State taxes are, so state taxes are blank other factors. So this is a comparison between two elements, state taxes and other factors. I cannot provide an answer until I understand the relationship between state taxes and other factors. That's it. In the text, it is stated that even significant differences in state taxation, state taxes, have almost no effect. So state taxes, no effect, not important. Well, other factors now, other factors, while differences in employment opportunities, housing availability, and the climate, these are the other factors, are strong influences, very important. Very important. This is the relationship between taxes and other factors. Very easy. This is how we must think of such question. I cannot complete the sentence unless I understand the relationship between state taxes and other factors. Now I know that state taxes are not important at all, while the other factors are very important. So consistent with how come? No harmony at all. What comes before is not important, what comes after is very important. So A is totally wrong. A representative of means an example of, can be the not important, an example of the very important, nonsense. Irrelevant to is that is the traffic choice. It cannot be irrelevant to. Did we say that the state taxes are irrelevant to the list? No. State taxes, we can say that the state taxes as a topic is one of the factors. One of the factors. It belongs to the factors, but it is not important while other factors are very important, but it is irrelevant. So we cannot say it is irrelevant. No clue that the state taxes are irrelevant. If they are irrelevant, we wouldn't mention the state taxes in the text. Here, guys, the relationship is that the state taxes are overshadowed. Are overshadowed means are made less important. Are made less important by other factors, correct? Because overshadow means to make less important. Your results overshadowed his. It means you got the full mark and he got 9.5 out of 10. So your results overshadowed his. It means your results made his results less important. So overshadow is correct. Made less important. Answer choice C. Now, guys, the vocabulary of module 2. Question number 1. Give it a try. Be equipped with the contextual clue. Send your answer. Well, here we go. More than perfect. Raise hand if you can explain it. Muhammad Hassan.
Here the clue is conjecture, so it's B.
What does conjecture mean? What does speculate mean? Muhammad Hassan.
Yes,
What does conjecture mean? What does speculate mean?
conjecture means a theory, and speculate means to make a theory.
Well, here, guys. Okay, elaborate on it. Who? And Mahmoud, would you like to add anything else, Mahmoud?
No, I just read the first sentence.
Salma.
She doesn't have a definite idea of when it's gonna happen.
Excellent. 100% correct.
Theorizing.
See, guys, former astronaut Ellen Ochoa says that although she doesn't have definite idea of when it might happen, she speculates. To speculate means to provide a claim with no enough evidence. Without enough evidence, you are not sure, you just speculate. And what supports speculate is conjecture. Because conjecture means like a claim with no evidence. You are not sure. You are not sure. So you just speculate. You just speculate. So the main clue is doesn't have a definite idea and conjecture, of course. Taking the word this conjecture. So yes, I remember Mr. Ehab's note of this, these, those, that, such, that. So here we have this conjecture. So I can describe what comes before as conjecture. Because here I say, and what comes after this conjecture. So what comes before is conjecture. Which word from these corresponds to the meaning of conjecture? To state something without complete evidence, it is speculate. Speculate. Number 2. Muhammad Yasir, you have a question? Go ahead, Muhammad.
Yes, Mr. I don't know why C is wrong, because C also means uncertain or like is like not convinced.
Well, So you gotta ask, what is the difference between C and B? Right?
Yes.
C is negative. C
Uh,
is negative. Doubts. Doubts generally is negative. While here we want to state that we got to a conclusion without enough evidence, but we are not doubtful. We are not skeptical.
mhm.
We just don't have a definite idea. We are not sure completely. But I cannot say that we doubt the pure negative word. It is pure negative.
Yes.
While speculate is neutral. I speculate like I think Manchester United will win. So I think is totally different from I doubt that. I doubt that Manchester United will win means I believe they will lose.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
You're so welcome. So question number 2 now, guys. Give it a try. Who can explain it? Ziad? Go ahead, Ziad.
Yes, Mr. Here the word, the clue word was continuously worked.
So the answer is
C, persistent.
persistent. 100% correct. 100% correct. See, guys, this blank effort the same idea, same technique, same strategy. I have this followed by blank, then now. So the effort is described before. See how many times we are testing the same rule? The clue will be before. If I see this, these, those, that, such, that, you will find the clue before. This blank effort, okay, the effort is explained in what comes before. How do I describe the effort? Let's read. Beginning in the 1950s, Navajo Nation legislature and Dodge Wanuka continuously work. Continuously work? No doubt it is persistent effort. Persistent. Not impartial, that means neutral or unbiased. So no, it cannot be. Offhand means not showing interest. Not showing interest. Do we talk about showing interest or not showing interest? Mandatory? No, of course. We didn't even discuss the idea whether the effort was mandatory or optional, voluntarily. No, not discussed. So persistent corresponds to continuously worked. So no doubt it is C. Very easy. Keep looking for the clue. There must be a clue. If you see the word this, it means that, these, those, that, such, the clue will be before. So it is C, no doubt. Now, guys, question 3. Raise hand if you can explain it. Lana Muhammad.
Yeah, the answer is A, because it says by flowering at the same time as the host plant.
100% correct. Thank you so much. See, guys, as I told you, for how many times we are this at the same rule? We see the word this. This blank. So this what? The answer is what I mentioned before. So I am asked to provide noun. It's as if we are asked to read what comes before, summarize it in one word. So here we have at the same time, flowering at the same time. This is the clue. What equals actions at the same time? Synchronization, of course. Not prediction, not hibernation, not moderation. Very easy. That is the difficulty level of the college board. All of these questions in the revision trial are from official tests. Excuse me. So we are done with the vocabulary questions. See, guys, most of the questions are easy, not difficult at all. And that is the difficulty level of the college board, what means you will have a replica of these questions. You will have just imitation of these questions. Nothing new under the sun. That's it. Back again to module 1. Poetry questions. There is a poem written by George Douglas Johnson. I have to read the heading first, which states the main purpose of the text. So I have to read the poem, understand the main idea well, and then I choose the correct answer. Go ahead, guys, all of you civilians.
Mister, this is in module 1 or module 2?
Module 1, Yusuf. See, Yusuf? Page 2, Yusuf. Well, raise hand if you can explain it. Here we go. All boys are asked to switch on cameras, no exception. Explain it, Mahmoud.
Okay, so I chose D.
B?
D, not B.
D, yeah. Okay.
Because
For what reason?
he was talking in a positive way and like encouraging his son when he said, "Winged by my heart's desire, go forth, my son, great riches." Like he used a positive
Tone.
yes for to encourage his child for life
So
experience.
the tone is pure positive. You agree?
Yes.
Okay. That is pure positive tone. So the tone of the poem is very important. Read to figure out the tone. Go forth, my son, winged by my heart's desire, get reaches, yet unknown await for your possession. I may not, if I would, which is the way with you. My pilgrimage is a thorough, but life is calling you. So that is pure positive tone. Why do we eliminate answer choice A, Mahmoud? Answer choice A to express hope that the child will have the same accomplishment as his parent did. The tone is positive. So what is so wrong about A?
To express hope that the child will have the same accomplishment. There is the parent didn't state any accomplishments of himself.
This is true. This is true. So we have big issue now with the same accomplishments as his parents did. We have here equality regarding the accomplishments, the same accomplishments. While the poetess here, guys, encourages her son to go for, surpass any achievement done before. So it cannot be A. What is so wrong about B, Mahmoud?
Suggest that raising a child it's also doesn't has anything of this. Raising a child involves many struggles. There's no struggles even.
Struggles, negative. Let's think of it the sad way. There is negative while the tone is positive, so it cannot be B.
And the same is with C when he said to warn a child. This
Excellent.
is also
Warn and the challenges are pure negative words while the tone is positive, it cannot be C. For the same reason, it is D. D is pure positive with the correct focus. Encourage a child to embrace the experiences life will offer. Life is calling you. Wow. Now this question. Question 7. Which choose describes the function of the underlying portion, underlying sentence in the text. The function of the underlying sentence. Thank you. Who can explain it? Raise hand if you can. Um, Rehan.
Yes, mister. So we could solve this by using the elimination technique. So answer A is wrong because it says like it described the range of personality displayed by the women as they work. Here it didn't say any personality actually in the underlined sentence. What makes B wrong? But say like the beneficial relationship between human and Bible tree. Underlined sentence like doesn't show any like relationship and it's not even beneficial. So we can cancel it out. Number C, it demonstrates how human behavior can be influenced by the nature. It's wrong and it's even negative. So we can cancel it out. We still have D, which say that it describes like elaborates on an aspect of the paper tree that the woman evaluated. Actually true. If you read the sentence, you can see like the woman began to test the tree. So she's actually elaborating on the tree, and then it comes here, it describes it. So it's on
100% correct. More than perfect, Reham. See, guys, here in answer choice A, what is the focus of answer choice A? Personality traits. In answer choice B, beneficial relationship. In answer choice C, we are talking about the human behavior being affected by the natural environment. In answer choice D, we are talking about aspect of the tree. You know what? Just knowing the focus, you choose D. Just knowing the focus of each answer choice. What do we have here in the text, in the underlined portion? In the underlined portion, the subject integrate grammar rules with reading skill. The grammar rule here, guys, the subject is the word trees. What do we talk about in the underlined sentence? Trees. Trees, like people have there. So the word there refers to what? Trees. Individual characters, some were ready to yield, some trees. While others, trees. What do we talk about? Trees. So do we talk about personality traits? No. Do we talk about beneficial relationship between A and B? No, never. We do that. Someone would say, Mr. Ehab, but here in the sentence, we are talking about trees versus people. No, there is no trees versus people. Mainly, we are talking about trees. And to talk about trees, we have a kind of simile. I say trees like the people, are like the people. So mainly we are talking about trees only, not the people. Do we talk here about how trees benefit the people, how people benefit trees? So it is beneficial relationship, because when it comes to beneficial relationship, it is how A benefits B, how B benefits A. This is the beneficial relationship. Do we state that in the underlying sentence? Do we state how the trees benefit people, how people benefit trees? Not stated at all. I just tell a piece of information about trees only. So no beneficial relationship at all. Do we talk about human behavior being influenced by environmental, natural environment? No. So it cannot be C as well. Do we talk about the trees? Yes, answer choice D is correct. We need to elaborate on D, Mr. Ehab. It elaborates on an aspect of the maple trees. Do we talk about the trees? Yes. That the women evaluate. Do we talk about evaluation in the text, in the sentence, the underlined sentence? Yes, of course. We evaluate what trees ready to yield, what trees are reluctant on ready to yield. So we evaluate now. This tree is ready to yield. This tree is reluctant, lazy, and ready to yield. So this is evaluation. That's it. So answer choice D wins, of course. Easy, very easy. Not difficult at all. Muhammad, go ahead.
Mister, there's like a sort of like a trick they do in SAT when you like barely have enough time and it's like a main idea question where you have to read the first part and the last part. Is that true? Like, does that work?
Well, it worked in the old, like the paper-based SAT. The paper-based SAT, when we used to have a very long passage made up of 80 lines. So you are running out of time and you want to answer some questions like the main idea questions. You could just read the very last two sentences and you can answer correctly. But does that work now? No, because you have a very short text. So every single word matters. You got that?
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you.
Well, guys, here we have the paired texts. Text 1, text 2. I must read the question first before reading the two texts. This is very important. You have to follow the instructions. Read the question. Based on the two texts, how would text 2 most likely respond to the conventional wisdom in text 1? How would the authors of text 2 react, view the conventional wisdom? So you must think this way. I need to know what do we mean by conventional wisdom in text 1, and then I read text 2 to figure out their reaction about this conventional wisdom. Is it agreement, disagreement, or partial agreement? That's it. I will find an answer choice indicating agreement, disagreement. So when I figure out the relationship between the two texts, I will be able to eliminate some answer choices and I choose the correct one based on my conclusion about the relationship. That's it. So step number 1, read the question. Step number 2, try to figure out the relationship between the two texts and then start eliminating some answer choices. I end up with the right answer. Give it a try. I'll discuss it with Wadia. Switch on the microphone, Wadia.
Yes, sir. The mic was not
Yeah,
working with me.
So here,
Um,
when it comes to the relationship between text 1 and text 2,
yes.
agreement, disagreement, or what?
No, they disagree. Like text 1 says something and text 2 says something that contradicts.
Well, so text 2 disagrees with text 1, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Let's classify the answer choices now. Argue
Yes.
means disagree.
Yeah. It's the correct answer.
Fails, disagree. Suggesting that their own findings help, agree.
No, agree.
Recommend the same thing,
Agree.
agree. As long as there is disagreement, I have to get rid of the two answer choices, answer choice C and D, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, so D, C, and D out. Now I must think this way. We have disagreement in answer choice A and disagreement in answer choice B. So the problem is with the reason or the focus of the disagreement. One answer choice will give me the right focus of disagreement, and one will give me the misleading focus. Answer choice A tells us that the reason of the disagreement is because of a misconception. It is based on misconception about the competition,
Yes.
which is true. Because here we say, therefore, direct competition probably happens much less than previously thought, and it is difficult. This in turn makes it hard for them to move around and interact with one another. So yes, that is the correct focus of this agreement. Answer choice B, it fails to recognize the routine replenishment. Do we talk about replenishment of
No.
the ocean nutrients prevents competition between? So we have something that prevents competition, but that thing is not the replenishment of ocean nutrients.
Yes.
That's why B is wrong. It indicates disagreement, but with the wrong focus. So you will have the same thing on your trial, guys. Classify the answer choices and then choose the best answer. 9. If you can hear me now, raise hand, please. الوليد ترتيل. Question number 9. Paired. Question number 8. Paired texts. Lower your hands, all of you. Question number 9. This is like the school questions. Why would a helicopter built for Earth be unable to fly on Mars? Oh, trivia questions. Literal comprehension question. Literal comprehension question. You will find the answer stated word for word almost. Who can explain it? So I must read the question first, and then I read the text to scan it. For the answer, Al-Mahmoud.
Yes, Mr. He literally answered the question when he said in the second line, because Mars' atmosphere is only 1% as dense as Earth is. The air of Mars would not provide enough resistance to the rotting blade of a standard helicopter for the aircraft to stay aloft.
Scholastic question.
Yes.
Why? Why would a helicopter built for Earth be unable to fly on Mars? And we find the answer here beginning with because Mars' atmosphere is only 1% as dense as Earth. So that is about the difference in atmospheric conditions, of course. Yes, marvelous. Because Mars and Earth have different atmospheric conditions. Literal comprehension. Wow. Question number 10. And you will take a break time after it. Which choice best stress the main idea of the text? So see Muhammad Majid, if you read the first sentence and the last sentence, Muhammad, it means you read the whole text.
Yeah, okay, I got you. Yeah.
Well, who can explain that? Be courageous. Raise hand. You know what, guys? Some students are a bit arrogant. What? This is a very easy question. Why would I raise hand? Mahmoud.
Yes, sure. He said at last new technologies may have changed some aspects of the road today, but Jalib continue to be valued. So even though there have been some changes in their role, Jalis continue to preserve the community's history. Say,
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. The difficulty level of college board questions. Jellies have traditionally been keepers of information. One. Number two, they serve as teachers, advisors. New technologies may have possibility, may have indicates possibility, may have changed some of the aspects of the world today, but what comes after the contradictory is very important. Jallis continue to be valued for knowing and protecting their people's stories. So it is answer choice A, even though there have been some changes. Yes, we are talking about the changes due to the new technologies, but still, Jallis continue to preserve their community's histories. So that is pure positive. The focus is on Jallis, which is correct. Positive as well, which is correct. Answer choice A wins. What is so wrong about answer choice B? Who? Anis. What makes B wrong, Anis? Anis Badawi. Ahmed Haddad. What makes B wrong, Ahmed? Your voice is excuse
Yes,
me.
sir.
Go ahead.
I think you did mention that many of them like teaching best.
Well, thank you. It is not mentioned. So, you know what, guys? You might think this way. Oh, I remember the word teachers, and this is Jalise, teachers. So why not? No, this is totally wrong because we said that one of the roles they played as teachers. But did we say that Jalise have many roles? Many of them, many of the Jalise like teaching best. That is not mentioned at all. So B is wrong, not mentioned. Jalis have been entertaining the people within their communities for centuries. Now we say that the main role by Jalis was entertainment, entertaining people. Nonsense. We say that Jalis were like the keepers of information, family histories and records of important events. Their teachers, advisors. So you say that the main job is to entertain. Technology can now do some of the things Jalis used to be responsible for. No, totally wrong. First of all, you begin with the wrong focus. We do not talk mainly about technology. We talk about Jalis. So you change the focus. This is number one. Number two, you say that technology can do some of the things Jalis used to be responsible for. It means that the role of the Jalis faded, which is totally wrong, of course, according to the text. Break time, and we will be back at 5:45. Back again, guys. Question 11, main idea question. All of you send the answer. Well, thank you. Great, guys. Great. See, this is the main idea. We are talking about a specific guy, Eugene Wigner, a crystal, a specific structure, which is the honeycomb structure. It was conjecture. It was just conjecture. We were not sure of. However, after that, something occurred. We had captured an image of one. Then we moved from conjecture to confirmation. This is the main idea. Researchers have obtained the most definitive evidence to date the existence of the Wigner crystal. Do we talk about the Wigner crystal? Yes. So the Wigner crystal, and we are talking about the evidence. Yes, we are sure of the existence now of the crystal. What makes answer choice B evidently incorrect? Unusual crystalline structures. We didn't mention structures. The whole text discusses one structure, which is the honeycomb-like structure. So B is wrong. C, graphene is the most important thing. Q, this is with the wrong focus. If you choose C, you just indicate the whole text is about graphene. While we didn't mention graphene, unless like the second part maybe of the text. So it is not mainly about graphene, it is mainly about Wigner crystal. So it cannot be C. It's difficult to acquire an image. Thank you, because the tone is positive. And now you start with it's difficult to acquire an image, while the text states that we did. We managed to acquire an image, and you say it's difficult to acquire. That contradicts the text. So just reading the very first 5 words indicate that this answer is stretch. I will not waste my time with it. Very easy. Get rid of it. Question 12. So as I told you, this is supporting the claim plus graph. Mainly support the claim or support the conclusion, support the hypothesis, and then graph. Well, here we go. First of all, we must figure out the conclusion of the researchers. The findings suggest that across the years analyzed, across the years analyzed. So the piece of information must be including all years. This is the first point. Because across the years, not a specific period of time, there was growing interest among CEOs in connecting with more department in the companies. That is the conclusion. Send the answer. Marvelous. Answer choice answer choice A is totally wrong because here the average number of managers and department leaders reporting to their CEO didn't fluctuate from 1991 to 1995 period to the 2000 and 2008 period. It will not support the conclusion at all because in the conclusion we need growing interest, growing increase. We need the increase. The average number of managers reporting directly to the CEO was highest in a specific period of time. It cannot be correct because it mentions a specific period of time while we need something across all the years analyzed. This is number one. So I do not depend on the accuracy now. I depend on whether the thing supports the conclusion or not. So it does not support the conclusion. The average number of managers reporting directly to their CEO was highest in a specific point. And if it was highest here, it is a catastrophe because it means it declined after that, which is not true. Which is not true according to the graph. And it could not support the idea even, could not support the conclusion we highlighted. The average number of department leaders reporting directly to their CEO was greater than number of managers. So what do we do in answer choice C? Comparison between number of department leaders versus number of managers. This is off topic because we do not compare the number of department leaders to the number of managers in the conclusion we highlighted. We are asked to support the conclusion. Do we discuss that thing? Do we address such comparison in the conclusion? The number of department leaders versus the number of managers? No, at all. So C is totally wrong. Answer choice D is correct. The average number of department leaders reporting directly to their CEO rose. Wow. So number one, it corresponds to growing interest, growing increase equals rose. And department leaders report to their CEO equals the conclusion we highlighted. And we have something else over the 3 periods. The 3 periods studied equals across the years analyzed. This is sad. If you're able to perceive how the test makers like tailor, design, provided rapid choices, what modification they do to make the answer choices a rapid choice, you will ace SAT. We made like a very interesting experiment like 3 years ago. I asked some students to prepare questions 3 years ago with rapid choices to imitate those of the test makers. See, you are a student and you do rapid choices, you create a question with rapid choices. So you comprehend the thing like to the max. What? Question 13. Undermine the hypothesis, attack the hypothesis, attack it. So first of all, what hypothesis? Forster's hypothesis. Forster hypothesized that damage to eelgrass roots increase the plant's rate of sexual reproduction, and that boosts genetic diversity, and that benefits meadows health overall. So I need something that attacks, that weakens, that undermines this hypothesis, which answer choice does. Send the answer, guys. All of you. The answer is C, yes. And Mahmoud Maher chose B. Well, let's see C now. Here, guys, I say eelgrass meadows health correlates negatively. Correlates negatively. While here I say it correlates positively. In the hypothesis, I say eelgrass meadows correlates positively. Eelgrass meadows, see, correlates positively. Damage to eelgrass positively benefit the health. So if I say that eelgrass meadows correlates negatively, I undermine the claim easily. I weaken the claim easily because it is the opposite of what I have. Okay. Mahmoud Maher, switch on the microphone. This question is very important. Mahmoud.
Yes, yes.
What is the focus of the hypothesis? The focus is the effect of eelgrass,
Okay.
right? The effect of eelgrass mirrors on, see, the damage of eelgrass roots increases plants' rate of sexual reproduction, that in turn boosts genetic diversity, which benefit the meadows health overall. Let's see now answer choice B. Answer choice B, we see something like that. Well, there are large, well-established sea otter populations, but no eelgrass meadows. If there is no eelgrass meadows, so we have a problem now. I cannot measure the effect, right?
Yes.
It means I cannot tell whether it is positive or negative. You agree?
Yes.
So answer choice B, guys, cannot support, it cannot weaken. It does nothing. It does nothing at all. So you cannot choose B because in B, we state that no eelgrass meadows. So how would I know the effect? I say no eelgrass meadows. While in the hypothesis, guys, I mentioned the effect as positive. But if there is no eelgrass meadows, so it means that I cannot measure the effect. I cannot tell whether it is positive or negative. So I get rid of B. The answer is C, because the effect here is positive, and in answer choice C, I said the effect is negative. So yes, this weakens, this undermines the hypothesis clearly. So I choose C. Which choice most logically completes the text? How can I answer this question? This question is not difficult. I need to understand what comes before. Well, most of such questions that begin with which choice most logically completes the text. When you read the sentence you want to complete, you will find out that it begins with words like thus, therefore, accordingly, thus, therefore, accordingly. It means you are asked to provide the effect. The effect of what? Of what you read. So you have to read what comes before very carefully to be able to write the logical conclusion, the logical consequences, the logical effect of the causes, of the premises before. Well, give that a try, guys. It is no difficult, it's easy. Marvelous. Great. Scholars have noted that F. Scott Fitzgerald's writings were likely influenced in part by his marriage to Zelda Fitzgerald. Okay. But many do not recognize Zelda. That is a turning point. You have to be very careful. You know what, guys? If you read the first sentence before or the first clause before the comma, but and I ask you, what is the focus? What is the focus? 100%. We are talking about scholars have noted that F. Scott Fitzgerald's writings in the first clause before, but we are talking about the writings of this guy, F. Scott Fitzgerald, but we have a turning point after the comma but. Here we say that guy's writings were likely influenced in part by his marriage to Zelda Fitzgerald, but many do not recognize Zelda. So the focus now is not on F. Scott Fitzgerald. It is mainly on Zelda. So that's a turning point. As I told you, what comes up, the contradictor is the most important portion in a text. But many do not recognize Zelda as a writer in her own right. Indeed, now I want to emphasize something important. Indeed, Zelda authored, so that is mainly about Zelda now. Zelda authored several works herself, such as the novel Save Me the Waltz and numerous short stories. Thus, so we are talking about the contributions by Zelda. Thus, those who primarily view Zelda as an inspiration for F. Scott's writings do what? Overlook the many factors that motivated F. Scott to write? No, we didn't talk about any other factors. When we mentioned one factor that affected this guy's writings, we mentioned the Zelda, his wife. So we didn't mention any other factors. B, risk misrepresenting the full range of Zelda's contributions to literature. That is 100% correct, because here we mentioned that Zelda authored several works herself. Never belittle her works. If you just think that she is important because she influenced her husband, if Scott Fitzgerald's writings, you are mistaken. So if you do that, you risk misrepresenting the full range by Zelda. Do we talk about the full range of Zelda's contributions to literature? Of course. And we provide examples, even like this novel, Save Me the World. So B is totally correct, may draw inaccurate conclusions about how F. Scott and Zelda viewed each other's works. We never mentioned how Zelda viewed her husband's works. We never mentioned how F. Scott Fitzgerald viewed his wife's works. They tend to read the works of F. Scott and Zelda in an overly autobiographical light. We didn't talk about the genre at all. Autobiographical light is something else. We didn't mention anything with the genre. So 14 is wrong. D, I mean. 15, which choice most logically completes the text. So see, guys, therefore, so as to provide the conclusion, the effect of the cause before of the premises before. Well, I need to understand what comes before well, and then I choose. Give it a try, guys. Send your answer for that. Well, let's see. In a study of the cognitive abilities of Y-phase, Kabish monkeys, researchers neglected to control food. This is a big defect in the research, in the study. So what is the outcome of such defect? Of course, wrong findings, at least inaccurate findings. That's it. So researchers neglected to control for the physical difficulty of the tasks they used to evaluate the monkeys and the cognitive abilities of monkeys, given problems requiring little dexterity, such as sliding a panel to retrieve food, were judged by the same criteria as where those of monkeys given physically demanded problems, such as unscrewing a bottle or inserting a straw. The results of the study, therefore, could suggest that there are differences. While these differences do not exist, that is 100% correct. It indicates the consequences of a defect in the study. You conducted the experiment the wrong way, so what do you expect? Wrong findings, wrong results. So A is okay. Inaccurate results. That's so weird to describe the results because we need to describe the results. It's so weird to describe the results as useful. No, there is a defect should not be taken as indicative. Here I say shouldn't be taken. Just wait. I need to change the color. If I describe the results as shouldn't be taken as indicative of the cognitive abilities, till now, that is 100% correct because it tells us that these results are not accurate. But the problem is here. Of any monkey species other than sea imitator, what? Here, guys, the experiment, the research is about sea imitator. So when we provide a piece of information, it must be about sea imitator. Now I say that it would be wrong about any species, any monkey species, except for the sea imitator. It means the results about sea imitator is correct. While we stated that these results would be incorrect, of course, because we didn't do the experiment the right way. So it cannot be C. That is totally wrong. Reveal more about monkeys' cognitive abilities. Now that is positive when I say that there is a defect conducting the experiment. So it cannot be D because it is positive. Reveal more about the monkey's cognitive abilities when solving artificial problems rather than when solving problems encountered in the wild. That is the second mistake. We didn't mention anything encountered in the wild. All the conditions were artificial, not natural. So it cannot be D for these two mistakes. Number one, the tone is pure positive in answer choice D. And inaccurate about the second part, as we said, encountered in the wild, we didn't have any indication at all about conditions applied in the wild. Like both conditions were using like artificial obstacles, not natural, not in the wild, as we are talking about. See, the little dexterity is sliding panel. This is artificial. I'm screwing the bottle artificial. So it cannot be D. Question number 5. The main purpose of the whole text. It means why did the writer write this text? So that is function question, purpose question. Why did the writer write such text? Obviously the answer. Explain it, Ismail.
The way I answered it is like I used the part in the question where, because as you said like last lesson, we don't always just have to choose the correct answer. Sometimes it has to be the best answer. So as I looked through it, it doesn't explain anything about how digital scanners work. In fact, it just says one thing about digital scanners is that sometimes you don't bring the printing out right, which helps the reCAPTCHA bot work. And then it doesn't call attention to the book digitizing project at all. There's no calling of attention in the text. And there's no discussion of the book digitizing project, and it does not indicate the popularity of the reCAPTCHA. So the most comprehensive answer here is to discuss von Ahn's invention of the reCAPTCHA. That gives a general idea.
100% correct. So here, guys, let's see, what do we talk about? Computer and scientists. Louise Vonan was working on converting printed books into digital format. That was the purpose. What occurred after that? Maybe something really different from the purpose. You know, he found that some words were distorted now that digital scanners could not recognize them, but most humans could easily read them. Based on that finding, Von Hans invented the simple security test. Oh, wow. So based on what comes before, something occurred, which is the invention of the reCAPTCHA. The first version of the reCAPTCHA test asked users to type one known word and one of the many words scanners couldn't recognize. Correct answers proved the users were humans and added data to the bulk digitizing project. So mainly, guys, we are talking about the invention of reCAPTCHA, like the origin. So here, guys, we choose A to discuss the Vonan's invention of reCAPTCHA. Do we explain how digital scanners work, like step by step, the process, the mechanism? Do we do that? Like what is the first step, second step, third step of the mechanism? We do not mention anything about the mechanism at all. So it cannot be explained how the digital scanners work. We have mentioning of digital scanners, of course, but no explanation of how they work. To call attention to the book digitizing project, to call attention mainly to make the readers aware of the importance of the book digitizing project. We didn't do that, actually. We mainly talk about how this guy created the reCAPTCHA. So it can be seen to indicate how popular the reCAPTCHA is. We are talking about the invention itself, but we didn't talk about how popular it is, of course. So the answer choose D is totally wrong as well. The following text is from Edith Wharton's 1905 novel, The House of Mirth. And here, guys, we must read the heading, the function of the underlying sentence, and the text. You choose. Well, here we go. Lily had no real intimacy with nature, but she had passion for appropriate and could be keenly sensitive to a scene which was fitting the background of her own sensations. Okay, there is a claim. What do I do now in the underlined sentence? The landscape are spread below her seemed an enlargement of her present mood, and she found something of herself in its calmness, breadth, its long free reaches. What? المحمود ماهر. Switch on the button for Mahmoud.
Yes.
You chose A.
Yes.
Detailed image means description of the physical setting. Do we describe
Yes.
the physical setting by saying enlargement of her present mood?
Ah, okay.
Do we do
Okay.
that?
No, no. I like just
Do we describe the physical setting when we mention the word calmness? Its breadth and its long free reaches. We are talking about the vibes, right? The vibes, not the physical setting. We mentioned something about the vibes, but not the physical setting. When I describe the physical setting of a room, for example, I describe everything like the room is spacious. I describe the ceiling, the paintings, the walls, everything like the furniture. Okay, but here I do not do that at all. So answer choice A is totally wrong. It establishes that the character is experiencing an internal conflict. No, no, and no internal conflict mentioned. In this sentence, is experiencing an internal conflict. Where is the internal conflict? I say that she likes the landscape, as the landscape seemed an enlargement of her present mood, and she found something of herself, something good, positive in its calmness. So no mentioning of internal conflict at all. Please wrong. It makes an assertion that the next sentence then expands on. Does the next sentence expand on this one? Let's see. On the other near slopes, the sugar maples wavered like birds of light. Lower down was massive gray. No. No, of course. This sentence 2 is related mainly to sentence 1, not sentence 3. Sentence 3 mentions something about the physical setting. So I cannot choose C. It makes an assertion that the next sentence expands on. It means that the next sentence explains, elaborates what I stated before. No, actually, that is totally wrong. Answer choice D, the correct answer now. It illustrates an idea that is introduced in the previous sentence, correct. Sentence 2 introduces or illustrates, explains an idea discussed in sentence 1. In sentence 1, I say she had passion for the appropriate and could be keenly sensitive to a scene which was fitting background of her own sensations. And yes, in sentence 2, the underlined sentence, I'm asking about the purpose of, we are introduced with the same idea. I explain, I give example of such situation when the landscape seemed an enlargement of her sensations, of her present mood, and she found something of herself. So that equals what comes before, not what comes after. So I choose D. Another function question. Question 7. So that is self-explanatory, guys. The sentence begins with using data. The team compared. So the answer is Ahmed Haddad.
Yes.
What is the answer of 7?
C.
Because using data, the team compared, this is the methodology of the study. Yes, the methodology. We know that from the notes question. When I say using computer models, using a specific technique, this is the methodology. So answer choice C wins to explain part of the methodology used in the study. What methodology? Using data spanning from 1994 to 2010. What else? The team compared something. So That is the technique, the method. So C wins, of course. No problem, Hazm. Okay. Well, question 8. What is true about the mother? All of you send the answer, guys. So I read the question and I scan the text for the answer. Explain it, Mustafa.
Yes, miss. So it said besides she used to write stories for them while they were at school and read them out loud after tea, and she made up funny pieces of poetry.
She creates stories and poems for her children. Yes, it is supported by evidence. Mothers didn't spend all of her time in paying doll visits to the ladies and sitting doll at home, waiting for doll ladies to pay visits to her. She was almost always there, ready to play with the children and ready and read to them and help them do their home lessons. Besides, she used to write stories and read them, and she always made a funny piece of poetry. So that is the clue about answer choice. Easy. Yusuf, Yusuf Ehab, the answer of number 7C, Yusuf. Literal comprehension question, difficulty level, very easy. See, guys, that is the difficulty level of the college board. 9. The following text is from Maggie Pog Johnson's 1910 poem, Poet of Our Race. In this poem, the speaker is addressing Paul Lawrence Dunbar, a Black author. So here we have the poem, which states the main purpose of the text. So I have to read the poem, understand it, get the main idea, and then it will be very easy for me to figure out the purpose. Go ahead. All of you choose the right answer. Well, guys, raise hand if you can hear me now. Raise hand if you can hear me now. Mhm. Raise hand if you can hear me now. Okay. أحمد حداد, عمر سلطان, محمد ماجد, رغد, and El Mahmoud. Well, that's easy, not difficult at all. Dow with the stroke of of mighty pen, when we say mighty pen, we are referring to writers, authors, poets, has told of joy and mirth and read the hearts and souls of men as cradled from their birth, the language of flowers. Okay, Brooke. So here, guys, we are talking about writers, and we are talking about people, describing people and describing nature. That makes answer choose A correct. To praise writer for being perceptive regarding people and nature. That is the main idea, that is the structure of the text. Easy. Well, here, guys, read the hearts, Rahaf, read the hearts. That is not reading with its literal meaning. Read the hearts like understood, perceived. So we do not choose B to establish the research writer has read extensively about variety of topics. No, we mentioned two topics actually, people and nature. And when it comes to people, we do not say read people or read something about people. No, read the hearts and souls of men. It means like to have deep understanding of people. Then to you is an 1856 poem by Walt Whitman. In the poem, Whitman suggests the readers whom he addresses, the readers have not fully understood themselves. Support the claim, illustrate the claim. Go ahead, all of you. One question, Abdurrahman Isaac, you raise your hand, you have a question? Well, okay, great ones. That's very easy. Readers have not fully understood themselves. You have not known what you are. You have not known what you are. It means you do not understand yourselves. Yes, you have stumbled down yourself. All your life you do that. Your eyelids have been the same as closed most of the time. So you do not understand, you do not fully understand yourselves. Yes, A is correct. And I would say no trap choice even. No trap choice. Because here, guys, we are talking about the readers whom he addresses. With readers whom he addresses, he would go for the second person pronoun you. But here talking about nature, the meadows and the rivers, no. I should have made my way. This is regret case about the first person singular. So that's not mainly about the second person, while we have the mentioning of you, but mainly it is about I, something I did and I regret. Answer choice D is about something I will do, not you, not the address person, not the address readers. I will leave. So there is a sudden decision. So D is totally wrong as well. Support the student's claim. What is the student's claim? That is the first step. And then I ask which answer choice corresponds to that claim. Give it a try, guys. Redo the question. Well, thank you. Yes, it is A, of course, because that is the claim. Well, guys. So yes. Here, guys, Chambe's photographs have considerable ethnographic value in his work, and he was able to capture diverse elements of the Peruvian society. Diverse elements. Chambe took many commissioned portraits of wealthy, but also produced hundreds of images, the variety. Now we emphasize the variety, carefully documenting different peoples, sites, customs of the indigenous communities of the Andes. So yes, it is A. It cannot be B. Chambe's photographs demonstrate high level of technical skills. Now we are talking about his technical skills. Does this claim address the technical skills? No. As in his strategic use of illumination, here we are talking about his technique, his strategy. So that is about his technique, totally wrong. While in the claim, we are talking about a variety, diverse elements of the previous society. During his lifetime, Chambe was known and celebrated both within and outside his native Peru, as his work was published in places like Argentina, Spain, and Mexico. Answer choice C discusses an important point, but It does not correspond to the claim. It tells how people in the world viewed him, but we are not asked to provide support to such point. We are asked to provide support for this claim mentioned in the text. Some of the peoples and places shall be photographed had long been popular subjects for Peruvian photographers. No, we are talking about other Peruvian photographers here. Well, we mainly want to support the diverse elements of Peruvian society by this guy champion his painting. So it is a no doubt talking about the variety, the diverse elements. A is the right word. Question 12. Which choice is most effective to use data from the table to complete the example? Here we have, for example, it means I must know what is the general, of course, to be able to provide an example. In fact, so many films and ancillary records for this era have been lost. So guys, the numbers we have here are not accurate, no doubt, not accurate, and should be taken as minimums, not accurate. So the answer is, let's see, Dark Cloud acted in significantly fewer films than did Lillian Sire, who is credited with the 66 performances. No, we want to indicate that the numbers we are provided with in the table are not accurate, and they are just bare minimums, of course. So answer choice A is wrong. It does not support such idea, regardless of the accuracy. Regardless of the accuracy. B. Edwin Cruz's 47 credited acting roles included only films made after 1934. Here I say 47. 47. So that is the same number. You do not support the idea before that so many films and serial records for this era have been lost. So B is out as well. Lillian Sire acted in far more than the 66. So it means the 66 is the minimum. Lillian Sire, so 66, I say that this is minimum. Lillian Sire acted in far more than the 66. It equals should be taken as bare minimums. So that is correct. James Young Deere acted directly 33 films and acted in only 10. Okay, so here, guys, I say 33 and 10 for James. James 33, 10 to say that he acted in 10. Even the piece of information is wrong. Not accurate. James Young Deere acted in 33. And you know, you say he acted in 10 and directed 33. No, he directed 35. And never forget that we are talking about the bare minimum. So answer choice C is totally wrong. Only answer choice C indicates that this is the bare minimums. By saying acted in far more than. So the 66 is just the bare minimum. It equals the claim we mentioned before. Should be taken as bare minimums. So answer choice C is totally correct. Well, question 13. Which choice most logically completes the text? Send the answer, all of you. More than perfect. Who can explain it? That's very easy. Go ahead, Salma.
Okay, I chose B because it says the evolution of larger body sizes and sauropods did not depend on increased atmospheric carbon dioxide. And then the text says the exact same thing. There is no evidence of significant spikes in carbon dioxide levels coinciding with relevant periods in sauropod evolution.
Thank you so much. See, guys, what comes after the contradictory is very important. However, there is no evidence of significant spikes in carbon dioxide levels coincided with relevant periods in sauropod evolution. That's it. This is enough to choose B. The evolution of larger body size in sauropods did not depend on increased atmospheric carbon dioxide. The evidence is there is no evidence of significant spikes in carbon dioxide levels coinciding with relevant periods in sauropod evolution. Word for word,